Hi, and welcome to session 1 of the grade 6 course. If you haven't watched the introduction video on this course, then please do. It will tell you what to expect of the course and just how to get the most out of it. So if you haven't done that, I really would recommend it. Otherwise, we're going to get straight into it. So we're going to be looking at factorising quadratics when a does not equal 1. I'll explain what that means in a moment. First of all, we're going to start off with some quadratics to factorise that are at a grade 5 level. So this is kind of assumed knowledge. This has been covered in the grade 5 course, and coming into grade 6, the kind of expectation is that you're already good with this particular piece of maths. I am going to go through it with a little detail just in case you're a little wobbly anywhere, but it won't be given a huge amount of time for the simple reason that it's not grade 6. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to pause, have a go at factorising those, and hit play when you're ready, and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so those are the answers to the first two. I am going to go through the last two with a little bit more detail, just in case you need it. Okay, so when I'm factorising quadratics, the first thing I do is I just take a look at how many terms I've got. Quadratics don't always have 3 terms. Some quadratics can look like this: 4x squared plus 5x. There you go. That is a quadratic because it has the power 2, but it only has 2 terms. So the general rule is if you have 3 terms, you will go into 2 brackets. And if you have 2 terms, you'll go into 1 bracket. So let's get rid of that. So I'm looking at x squared minus 10x plus 9. It's 3 terms. I'm going to automatically go straight into my 2 brackets. And then I'm going to look at the first term. The first term is x squared, so I'm going to drop my x at the front of each bracket. I then look at the signs. I've got a neg pos, so I'm going to put a neg combination into my brackets. Now, I will quickly recap that just in case you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about. All questions have 2 signs. There they are, okay? And we've done every possible combination in these 4. So you could have a plus combination. In the brackets, you would have the exact same combination. And that's true of any question that starts off positive. It just copies and repeats itself in the answer. But when it starts negative, let's say I've got neg, then my answer is going to start like it's going to repeat, but then it doesn't. The second one will flip to the opposite sign. So a neg pos would give me a neg. So the only thing changing really is if it starts negative, the second one flips. If it starts negative, the second one flips. Otherwise, everything else is kind of repeated from the question into the answer. And that key, that kind of code, is stored in my head, ready to just use the minute I need to factorise. All right, so I've done my neg. Now I take a look at the very last term. It is a 9, and I look at what multiplies to make 9. 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Take a look at that middle term, and I can see I need to make a 10. So the 1 and the 9 is the combination I'm going to need to use. 3 and 3 is never going to make me a 10. So 1 and 9, I can literally throw it in. I don't even need to think about it because the signs are the same. It doesn't really matter. And if you wrote yours the other way round, okay, as long as what you've got inside the brackets are identical to me, it doesn't matter if they're the other way round, you are still correct. Okay, let's do the last one. We are going to drop in the x, do the signs, it's neg, so it's going to be neg pos. I'm working on 90 this time. So the obvious one is 9 and 10. It's actually the one I want as well. I want to make 1, yeah? And 10 take 9 makes 1. But I need to be really mindful of the fact that I've got 2 different signs. That means that they will need to go into the brackets in the right places in order to make this middle one. And I must also be very mindful here that I'm not just trying to make 1, I'm trying to make -1. In order to make -1, I'm going to need to put the 10 here and the 9 here. If I'm at -10 and I add 9, I will be at -1. So that is how we factorize a grade 5 quadratic. Now let's go back and talk about this a equals 1, or a does not equals 1, okay? Each one of the terms in a quadratic is given a letter, basically A, B, C. And you'll see why in, I think, session 3. So we've got here, this quadratic, this bottom one, the A value is an invisible 1. So A is equal to 1 in this particular quadratic. The B is equal to -1. So it's really important that I include the signs. And C is equal to -90. And you can see that all of the questions we've just done, the x squared is 1 in every case. We're now going to look at quadratics where they're not always 1, where I might have a 3 in front or any other number greater than 1. So let's have a look and see how we approach that style of question. So we've got 2x squared minus 5x minus 3. Now, I am a big fan of trying to keep things as close to the same method as I possibly can. And if I can find one method that works all over the place, then I'm going to use that one method and learn how to do that really well. The less we have to store in our heads, the easier our maths is going to be, okay? So I'm going to drop my brackets. I'm looking at my first term. I don't have 1x anymore. I have 2x. So I'm going to drop 2x at the front. I'm going to do my signs. I've got neg. So I'm going to have neg pos. And it's at this stage we see our first change, okay? Instead of just working on the 3, I'm going to be working on the first and the last term being multiplied together. So 2 times 3 is 6. I'm actually going to be working on 6, not 3. I'm going to split the 6. 2 and 3 multiplies to make it. 6 and 1 multiplies to make it. I want to make a 5. Now, if I look at these, they both make 5. 2 plus 3 would make 5, and 6 take 1 would make 5. Now, it's not a case of, oh, well, I could use whichever one I want then. I've got to seriously think about what I've got, the signs that I've got in my brackets, and how I can pull it together. To make a 5, I am going to need to use the 6 and 1. Minus 6 plus 1 will make me the -5 I've got in the middle here. So I've got everything populated now into the brackets. The eagle-eyed among you may have spotted that if we crab's claw this out, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. That doesn't give me the first term, which would suggest we're going wrong. We're not, we just haven't finished, okay? Because these will cancel. So I'm going to look at each bracket and cancel wherever I can. So when I look at the first bracket, I can see that we've got 2x minus 6. They are both in the 2 times table, which means I can divide by 2. When I divide by 2, 2x divided by 2 leaves me my x, and the 6 divided by 2 will give me 3. When I look at the other bracket, there isn't a times table that's going to reduce that down, so I won't be doing anything to that one. Oops, 2x plus 1, there it is. And now when I do the check, x times 2x gets me my 2x squared. So now I've got, I hope, right factorisation. I do a second check. I don't literally crab's claw the whole thing out to check it. I just look at the last two. -3 times 1 is -3, which is the term we have here. And I take that as a sort of confidence that I've done everything right. So that is it. So the 2 extra steps are you must multiply the first and the last term. Technically, that is a step on something like x squared plus 5x plus 6, okay? Because if I did times that, 1 times 6 is 6. There's just no point in doing it, is there? So we don't see that step really happening, but it is technically there. And there would be cancelling if there was some cancelling available, but there just never is. So this is where everything is needed. All right, what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at this question. 3x squared plus 4x minus 4. Now, you've only seen it once. Hopefully you made notes as you went along, so you can use those. But I'd love you to just be brave, pause, and just have a go and see if you can get this correct. Hit play when you're ready. Okay, so we've got 3x and 3x. We've got pos and egg, so pos and egg. We've got 3 times 4, which is 12. And then you start thinking about what multiplies to make 12. 6 and 2 makes 12. And it also creates me the 4 that I want. I want a positive 4, so I want 6 take 2. And that's my bracket completed. Now, if I look at this one, I can see that these are both in the 3 times table. So I'm going to divide down by 3 to give me x plus 2. And the other one will not cancel down by anything that will make it smaller. So it stays the same. Do my quick check. X times 3x is 3x squared. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. It looks like we've done the right job there. And if you got that right first time, brilliant, absolutely well done. Okay, so we're going to look at another one. So let's look at 10x squared plus 21x minus 10. And again, I just want you to pause, have a go. Don't worry if it goes wrong. We've got to have plenty of practice this session on it. And then hit play when you're ready. Okay, so we're going to do 10x at the beginning of my bracket. I've got pos and egg, so I've got pos and egg. 10 times 10 is 100. I want to make 21, so that's going to be 25 and 4. So positive 21, so 25 is going in there, 4 is going in there. And then I start looking to see what I can cancel down by. So this is both in the 5 times table, so I'm going to divide by 5. That is 2x. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. This bracket will also cancel. They are in the 2 times tables. Okay, so we're going to divide by 2. And 2's into 10, go 5x. 2's into 4, go minus 2. And we are hopefully home and dry. So let's take a little check on this. 2x times 5x is 10x squared. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. So happy days, we have got that right. Okay, so it is a case of lots and lots of practice. So I have done you a list of questions. There you go. For you to just continue this session working through these. What I recommend that you do is mark as you go. What you'll do is you will press pause, have a go at a question, press play, the answers will pop up, and then it's just a case of you rewinding back to the questions and just kind of going backwards and forwards, really. And I will see you next session.